Okay, so a couple things to say. Obviously, most people have figured out Stanley is not here. It's a little sad for us. Working on the show with him for a while, as well as the hallway show, the grad student work, was really wonderful. And I think there's probably nobody else that can speak about his work better than him. But I wanted to thank everyone for coming and let everyone know that the reason he's not here is he had a close family friend pass away. He has a funeral that he's going to tomorrow. So he sends his regards, and he's coming back on Friday, December 2nd, I think at 5 p.m. Mm-hmm. So if anyone has questions for him or wants to engage in a conversation with him, that's going to be a really good opportunity to do that. So welcome everybody to come back, and that should be a really good event. So first, I guess I just want to say thanks to the staff and everyone who helped put together both exhibitions. The work, like many of our exhibitions, was printed here at Lightwork Lab. So the prints that you see here, and probably, 90% of the work in the hallway, maybe close to 100, 99%. Except for was printed at Lightwork, and it is an open access lab facility, so if anyone wants to come and print their work or learn about photography, I encourage you to come back for that as well. Thanks to Mary Lee and Jen. And Jen, who's been our sort of fill-in exhibition coordinator for installing the shows. They both did an awesome job. As many of you know, Victor was hit by a car, and he's still sort of recovering from what happened. But I did just see him in the city, and he's doing really well. So I think by way of that, he sends his regards to everyone that he knows here too. Let's see. So Stanley. What I want to say about Stanley. I guess what I want to say is just that Lightwork's history has been about supporting artists and their vision and their voice. It's kind of been like something that I've been thinking about, the idea of how artists have a vision and they have a voice, and how Lightwork has been doing that for over 40 years. And Stanley is a really great example of an artist that we align with and we wanted to work with for a number of reasons. He did a residency at Lightwork, and he worked through this project while he was here. So we got to get to know him and his ideas behind the work while he was here. And I think, this was already a timely show, but I think it's especially timely considering the election results and basically all the things that he's thinking about in this work, which are complicated issues that have come to the surface in the last many months and this week. Stanley's work, what you see in the exhibition, brings together two threads of image making, or in one sense it's image collecting. He gathers archival imagery and he mixes them with his own photographs. So most of the pictures that he made in here are made in Virginia. I think there are a few exceptions. And then a lot of the black and white pictures, though not all of them, are archival images that he's collecting. So he's really interested in finding the tension between the photographs. He's interested in the body. He's interested in his body as a black artist, as a foreigner working in America. He's interested in a lot of things, and this is really complex work in that way. So you'll find the way that he thoughtfully installed the exhibition, the way that this publication is put together. All of our contact sheet issues are an extension of the exhibition, but I think this one is a particularly good example because Stanley really thought about how it would live with the show. He included a lot of work in here that's not in the gallery and vice versa. So I encourage everyone to pick this up. And Stanley, oh yeah, there's a pile over here. Stanley happens to be, I think, one of the best writers on photography at the moment. He certainly has a way with words. He also happens to be a good image maker. And because of that, we included text by him in the contact sheet. So I really recommend reading that to get more of an understanding in terms of what his thoughts were behind the work and I guess his sort of just personal place and perspective. Let's see, what else? Oh, well, I wanted to read something because I came across a post by Rebecca Solnit, and for me this was kind of resonant right now, and it resonated with the exhibition, it resonates with what's happening with the election, post-election. So this is an excerpt from her book called Hope in the Dark, and it's about hope. It's important to say what hope is not. It's not the belief that everything was, is, or will be fine. The evidence is all around us of tremendous suffering and tremendous destruction. The hope I'm interested in is about broad perspectives with specific possibilities, ones that invite or demand that we act. It's also not a sunny, everything is getting better narrative, though it may be a counter to the everything is getting worse narrative. You could call it an account of complexities and uncertainties with openings. Critical thinking without hope is cynicism, but hope without critical thinking is naivete, the Bulgarian writer Maria Popova recently remarked. And Patrice Kalors, one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, early on described the movement's mission to provide hope and inspiration for collective action to build collective power, to achieve collective transformation. Rooted in grief and rage, but pointed towards vision and dreams. It's a vision or a dream big enough to let hope and grief coexist. The tremendous human rights achievements, not only in gaining rights, but in redefining race, gender, sexuality, embodiment, spirituality, and the idea of the good life of the past half-century have flowered during a time of unprecedented ecological destruction and the rise of innovative new means of exploitation. And the rise of new forms of resistance, including resistance enabled by an elegant understanding of that ecology and the means to protest, as well as by new ways for people to communicate and organize, and new and exhilarating alliances across distance and difference. Hope locates itself in the premises that we don't know what will happen, and yet in the spaciousness of uncertainty, there is room to act. When you recognize uncertainty, you recognize that you may be able to influence the outcomes, you alone or you in concert with a few dozen or several million others. Optimists think it will be fine without our involvement. Pessimists take the opposite position. Both excuse themselves of acting. Hope is an embrace of the unknown and the unknowable, an alternative to the certainty of both optimists and pessimists. It's the belief that what we do matters, even though how and when it may matter, who and what it may impact, are not things you can know beforehand. You may not, in fact, know them afterward either, but they matter all the same, and history is full of people whose influence was most powerful after they were gone. So this, I want to leave you guys with. So, since we don't have Stanley here, I thought, beyond just spending time with this exhibition, it would be a good opportunity to pass the mic to the grad students, because we're here to celebrate them. All of them were here to celebrate, but we just also want to tip the hat to Adriana, who was selected by Stanley as the best of show. Who is an honorable mention. If you didn't read...
Don't take a bow.
So what we were thinking of doing is, I guess, starting down at the end of the hallway, if we wanted to awkwardly, as a big group, go down there. And then I think D'Angelo is going to start and say something, and then we'll just sort of look down the hallway and see how it goes. Okay? Cool.